Hi, my name is Michelle Buhne, and I'm going to talk to you today about the endocrine system. The endocrine system is, in essence, one of the body's communication systems. When we consider the endocrine system, we must think of the glands, the tissues, and the hormones and the cells that secrete these hormones. Here we see the main glands of the endocrine system, being the pineal gland, the hypothalamus, the pituitary gland, the thyroid gland, the thymus, the adrenal glands, the pancreas, the parathyroid glands, and the gonads, the testes for the males and the ovaries for the females. Recent knowledge has increased about the endocrine system, so we now know that hormones are secreted from other organs and tissues not mentioned here. All functions in the body work together towards an equilibrium that is relatively stable, and we know this as homeostasis. Homeostasis is maintained through the use of hormones. And we know that one small hormone can have a large effect throughout the whole body, and endocrine disorders are the result if balance is not restored. Therefore, the endocrine system is important in order to maintain a quality health and well-being. Saladin describes hormones as chemical messengers that are carried by the blood, which upregulate a response in cells from other tissues or organs, which are often a considerable distance away. The hypothalamus regulates most of what happens in the body, and the pituitary gland is responsible for carrying out many of its functions. The hypothalamus, there are 8 hormones that are secreted by the hypothalamus, 6 of which are secreted or regulated from the anterior pituitary, and 2 which are stored in the posterior pituitary. A positive feedback loop occurs when one process stimulates another. One process or one factor to be maintained is that of stopping or slowing excessive blood flow, such as when there is an impact to the epidermis or the skin. Certain endocrine disorders also disrupt homeostasis. To look a little deeper into the process, let's look at the blood, so the positive feedback loop. So in the blood we have platelets, which assist in clot formation and form platelet plaques, secrete clotting factors. And platelets originate in cells, which start in bone marrow. The cell becomes a megakaryocyte, then goes through a process of cytoplasmic division, and the small fragments detached become platelets. It's worth noting that when there's an impact to the skin, there's an activation of the endothelial cells, with tissue factor, or factor 3, being released. Blood coagulation is a reaction cascade that consists of one reaction that activates the next, and so on, when there's damage to the cells and blood contacts with foreign surfaces. This happens intrinsically or extrinsically. Here we see the extrinsic clotting mechanism reaction cascade when thromboplastin from damaged tissues, also known as tissue factor or factor 3, meets with factor 7 to convert it to factor 7A, then factor 10 to factor 10A, with the last result in the cascade being fibrinogen converting to fibrin, which causes the platelet plug. Negative feedback loops occur when hormone output is decreased to bring the body back into homeostasis. Mechanisms in cells that are responsible for the last process are known as responders, with vasodilation being the final process in heat exposure, which we'll look at further. The process of thermoregulation is part of a negative feedback loop, and the thermoregulatory center is located in the hypothalamus. Here we see that when the change in temperature occurs, such as when the body overheats, the peripheral receptors pass a message to the central receptors, which are located in the hypothalamus, and the central receptors then send a message to the body. What happens next is the body's sweat glands secrete sweat, and the body's temperature decreases. What also happens is the central receptors target the blood vessels to vasodilate, and vasodilation occurs, and the result is body temperature decreasing. This is how our negative feedback loop works together to bring the body back into homeostasis, and the body's temperature is brought back down. Thank you.